when she started describing narcissism, take us through the thought process of what was going through your mind.
Confusion. As I also think it was going through like other people's mind, even Tommy. That's why Tommy was like, okay, so based off of what you just said, that fits me. So I don't, I don't understand. And to me, that was her chance to defend it. Like, cause it's not the fact of her saying it. I'm not saying that like, oh, don't say that, don't have an opinion, blah, blah, blah. It's not that. It's when you had the chance to even explain why you said what you said, then you said, oh, you're tall, light skinned and you're in a frat. And you don't, and even still, like, you don't see a problem with it. Like that's the disconnect that I'm having. Cause it's like, it's not like, you say, oh, well, he's full of himself. He never thinks that he's wrong. He seemed kind of aggressive. He said, you go into the actual definition of narcissism, but instead you did physical things that have nothing to do with it. That was just where the disconnect was for me. And potentially tainting his image in the other woman's eyes. That was a problem.
Yeah, I think I agree that, because I think when I did reviews, I was saying that if you can't explain it and you explain something else, you've brought confusion, because and narcissism is a very heavy word. You can't take narcissism very lightly. Like you said, you can say cocky, you can say arrogant, you can say those kind of things, but if you say narcissist, we've got to be able to articulate what it actually means. And then the things that were actually labeled were very physical attributes. And again, I mean, I don't know Rashid that well, but if you're going to label it, you're going to label it correctly. Those things were physical stuff which you can't control. His height, his skin tone, and he's okay, the frat maybe, but other than that, it wasn't something that he controls.
What's the relevance of it? Like, I don't get it. So that was where the disconnect came in with that part.
Okay,
and so also whenever you see me, because I told you I'm going to rant.
Listen, no, it's good. My microphone fell. No, I wasn't saying that. Go on. You're right.
Okay.
Oh, we happy for you to talk, sis. Don't worry about that. Go on.
When people didn't like the fact that I brought it up at the pool in front of everyone, or it was just Edwin, Rashid, and Simone, it wasn't a thing. Like I said, Simone felt away too, and me and Simone had a conversation previous to that and said that we would talk about
so you discussed with Denice before that pool stuff?
No, Denice. Simone. Yeah.
Oh, Simone. Okay.
Simone, because like I said, after the tavern, me, Simone, and Alex was like, we was questioning ourselves, in the whole thing. And it was like, yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way. So whenever I sit down with them, like Simone chimed in too, and she felt away too. It's like, yeah, I don't understand. And then you're saying light skin, and Simone's light skin. So it's just like, wait, what are you saying? And then that's why it turned into the colorism conversation, because it's like, you still said, like, regardless of if it was, you said traits or not traits or whatever, you still said light skin in your description of narcissist. That's still what you said, period. That's there. So it's like to say, oh, it's not a colorism thing. Well, why did you say it? It's that, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, so maybe Edwin was an extra person and it should have just been me, Simone, and Rashid or whatever. But it wasn't, intentional to get her kicked off and whatever. Like, it was to defend him because I felt like he deserved it. And to even find out. Now, if Rashid would have been like, when I asked him, what has his experience been with Denice thus far, if he would have been like, oh, we didn't click, like, she whack or whatever, something like that. Like, hey, well, maybe you need to go talk to her and see what's up, because right now she's I would have gave him the same energy that I was trying to give her whenever we later talked about it. But yeah, like, no, I think she's great. Everything's cool. He's literally oblivious to the whole thing. So yeah, but I will say too.
Go on.
Did I want her to go at?
I was about to ask that.
Yes, but that was not. It wasn't because of the narcissist thing. It was just because it was a lot of slick comments made, and y'all, I think. Furthermore, I need to go back and like rewatch. But
we caught one or two.
The only thing I think y'all got to see was the like the sorry boo. He'll try that with who try it with. But it was a lot on and off camera, just like. And I didn't have that problem with anyone else. Literally, like, I love, everyone. And I didn't see her have that, that type of interaction with anyone else on the show. With any other.
So do you think do you think that you two saw each other as competitors, that she saw you as a competitor?
But this was before we even said like who our top was and even like did it. So maybe a competitor overall. It's hard for me to say that. Maybe, but I hadn't even, whenever I first noticed her acting away was even at the meet and greet and before I even voiced having interest in Kalfani. So I don't want to sound like, oh, well, because she saw I was interested in Kalfani, then she started acting like that. It wasn't that. It was something that maybe I triggered something for her to start acting away towards me. So deep down, like I said, deep down, did I want her to go home? Yes, it was just because she was making it uncomfortable and she always had a slick comment and it was just a lot for me. I don't like drama and extra stuff. But was that a deep diabolical plan to, not consciously. Like I didn't do it intentionally if that was it. Like I said, it was just that. Like if that was the case, I would do it in front of everybody while we was eating. Like, well, Denice said this, I don't know, how do all the guys feel about it? Or I had all the guys around me. You know what I'm saying? It was just acceptable and it was just that. But it was a lot of situations where she was a lot.
So